Josephine Anan Ankomah is our next guest in the studio. She is a regional executive boss for Central, Eastern, Southern Africa, and also the MD, Ecobank Kenya. Good morning, Josephine.
Hello, good morning, Eric. It's
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
Mm-hmm. We love you very much. So
I can feel the love in the air.
You can, eh?
I can.
You're lucky because not every day that he's like this.
You
so
see, with all the flowers, and it's just
you concentrate
vibe.
all. You dish it out on one day, and then the rest of the day, malizane.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome. We're here
Thank
to tell
you.
you about Ecobank. So, Ndu, for example, Butela, Ecobank.
Did you
the
know?
Pan-African Bank.
Did you know?
Tell me.
Ecobank, 35 countries in Africa. There's representation of Ecobank. Over 14,000 employees. Also representation of Ecobank in other countries in the world. China, the UK, France, the United Arab Emirates. Did you know that in Kenya there are very many branches as well as express agents of Ecobank? Did you know that if you left Nairobi, for example, and were going to take up a job in South Africa, you don't need to close your account.
No, you don't.
You just need to keep on moving and you can continue with seamless transactions. In fact, it's a better way. It's a better Africa. Did you know this?
Josephine, did you know?
Well, we've just embarked on this campaign, and I think you've done my work for me already. So yes, it's Ecobank. It's a better way. It's a better Africa.
For a better future.
Exactly.
We're going to be discussing that shortly. CT has been supported by Ecobank in the last couple of weeks to go across Africa. Every week he goes into one African country and then he brings us proverbs from that African country. He is not in today. He's doing very many things. First, he's a keynote speaker at the men's conference. Plus, he's avoiding to be here to say Ash Wednesday. Plus, many other things. But the proverb this week, the proverbs are from Angola. Today's Angolan proverb, and I want you to listen and give us your interpretation of it. The squirrel does not talk back to the elephant. What's your interpretation?
My immediate thoughts are, you look at who you are, and then you size up your opponent, and you determine what you can and what you cannot do. So, like you would say in my language, you assess yourself, and then you determine what you can do, what fights to pick, what not to pick, and then, just stay in your lane and do what you do and what you can do best. That's my initial thought.
Bottom line,
Yes.
Stay in your lane.
Yes.
Stay in your lane. Okay. So all those African countries, 35 of them, and those countries outside of Africa, China, France, the UK, and the UAE, how many years are we talking about? How old is Ecobank?
Ecobank started in 1985. So Ecobank is 39 years old, and next year across Africa would be 40. We started operation in Togo, in Lome. It's where we started, and we spread across West Africa, and from there spread through East, through Central Africa, and to Southern Africa. So we currently cover 35 markets. We are the bank with the largest footprint across Africa. And then we have operations in the UK. We'd have a banking license in Paris, in France. So we have a bank in Paris. We have a representative office in South Africa, a representative office in Ethiopia. We also are in Beijing. And like we said, we're in Dubai. So we have quite a spread, we have quite a reach across Africa. And one thing we pride ourselves in is the fact that through one country, you have immediate access to 35 markets across Africa. And that's who we are as Ecobank.
I'm curious as to why go into so many countries in Africa as one bank. Why? I mean, it sounds nice, but, what was the intent behind that?
The intent behind us doing this really, it sits at the core of who we are and what we want to be in Africa, which is to facilitate financial integration, economic development across Africa. You can't do that without being present. I mean, there's one thing sitting outside somewhere and saying, I want to be part of solving for the problem, part of contributing to development. And you do that best by being there at the grassroots with the people, understanding who they are, what their challenges are, and then bringing your strengths to bear to take advantage of those opportunities and solve for the problem. So yes, we are in 35 markets across Africa, not just for the fun of it, but as a way of connecting Africa together. And one thing that makes us unique as Ecobank is that we operate as a banking group, not as a group of banks. So each of these 35 markets are not separate. We are tied together, shall I say, the umbilical cord with a technology platform that enables us to transact seamlessly, simultaneously in all of these 35 currencies across Africa. So if I'm sitting here as an expatriate in Kenya, for example, and I need to pay my daughter's school fees in Sierra Leone or in Rwanda, at the touch of a button from my Kenya shillings account here, I can debit that account here subject to exchange controls and send that money across instantly to my son or my daughter's account or to the school's account, whether it's in Rwanda, in Sierra Leone, in Zimbabwe, wherever, and pay instantaneously. That is the beauty of Ecobank. The fact that we seamlessly connect the whole of Africa through this technology platform that works for all of us instantaneously across our market. So we are here to solve for the challenges of Africa, and we believe that the best way to do that is to be present in the countries where the issues are and to solve with them. So whether it's a coup, whether it's war, whatever it is, we are there and we stay. That's who we are.
Yeah, it's interesting because this campaign, I would like to get into the details of that. But is it because an hour ago we just had a conversation about why are we not able to connect in Africa, whereby there are certain things that are required of us here and there, and it seems that as though you've been able to solve that issue by being present, 35 different markets, being able to have broken past the barriers of control, broken past the barriers of trade, and then having been able to do that when many other industries have not been able to do that. What are some of the things that has allowed you then to be able to be present? This network, like you said, it's not a group of banks, it's,
a banking group.
A banking group. But then there are many controls which other people, other industries also are suffering from, but seem to not able to break through. What did you do?
One thing that is strong, we believe in as Ecobank is, and it's a proverb, let me say it's a bit cliche. If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. That's us, we want to go far. So one way we have done this is to partner with like-minded organizations like ourselves who are breaking through the barriers that we are trying to break through. We partner with them to then solve for the problems in the countries where we find ourselves. So whether it's with a telco, whether it's with a fintech, whether it's with a payment services organization, whether it's with somebody who's offering a digital solution, whether it's with SMEs, whether it's with women, whether it's with governments, we bring our convening power to bear and work with these partnerships who think like us, who see like us, who feel like us, to partner to develop these products together. So in most of our markets across Africa, we would be in partnerships with almost all of the telcos that are there in those markets to provide solutions such as, airtime top-up, bill payments, school fees payments. Yep. What does the customer want to do? And what do we have? And what do we not have? Yeah. And who do we partner with
to get it,
to bring this solution? So really that thinking of partnership strategically is what has been one of the brilliant and success stories that we've had across the continent.
I'm sure when it began, it must have begun at one area of focus, and then over the number of years, it's developed and expanded. So did Ecobank begin as an SME bank, as a retail bank, as a corporate bank? Which was it?
From
1985.
In 1985, we in Togo, we started off as a bank that was largely corporate, but we quickly saw that there was much more than corporates in across Africa. So as we began our expansion across Africa, especially starting from West Africa, we dealt with all of the customer segments. So I would say that right from inception, we've dealt with 3 customer segments with our consumer banking clients, who are the individuals across Africa. We have dealt with our SMEs and our local corporates, homebred local industries, and we've also dealt with our multinationals. And across in all of the markets where we are, we also deal with our government. So we've always dealt with the 3 customer segments that we have in all of our markets and tailored our solutions to speak to and meet their needs.
As you move from one country to another, you're moving from one jurisdiction to another. You find, we're still within Africa, but then the laws in that country, the regulations in that country, the controls by the central bank in that country could be different from where you've come from. How do you navigate from one country to the next so that then in the back end, you are still offering the same seamless solution? But of course, in the front, we know, in the front end, it's the same seamless, but in the back end, you're dealing with a myriad of challenges.
So we in each of the markets, in each of our markets, we respect the regulation in the market.
Okay.
So I can't come from Zimbabwe and say that in Zimbabwe, this is what the central bank requires, and therefore I apply the same for Kenya. And neither can I say this is how it's done in Nigeria, and therefore when I go to Cote d'Ivoire, that's how it's done. No.
Okay.
We work with the central banks in each of our markets. So yes, there's a front end of a foreign exchange transaction. But in Ghana, for example, you cannot transfer $10,000 out of the country without documentation.
Yeah.
It's the same service of transferring money out, but you'll configure your mobile app, you would configure your online banking platform, which is OmniLite for us, or OmniPlus, to ensure that regulation is met. In another country, for example, within the UEMOA zone, you cannot just easily transact a foreign currency. They deal the safer.
Yes.
So it's the same service, but at the back end, I tweak it to meet the local regulation. So in every country, the local regulation first. What does a regulator in my country want me to do first? And then at the back end, how do I then ride on the back of those rails to ensure that I meet the needs of my customer? So we've dealt with 33, 35 regulators across our markets. That is why we say we know Africa.
Right.
And we've been there in 15, out of the 35 markets we operate in 15 of them we are top 3. In 7 of those markets, we are number 1. So this is who we are as Africa, and it's based on our understanding of these markets, running them over the last 40 years, working closely with them. There are times when we feel some regulation may be a bit too challenging. It's not too helpful to solve for the problems. We sit with a regulator and say, how can we work together to make this work? Of course, respecting your policy, what you want to do, but also putting the customer first and saying, how do we still work together despite this challenge to deliver? So at the end of the day, the customer is at the center, and then you work with your partners to deliver, to solve for the issue that the customer is looking for you to solve.
So from an individual customer's point of view, all right, I come from Nigeria and I have an account with Ecobank in Nigeria. I come to Nairobi. Would you ask me then to go through again, or can I just connect and continue as though nothing happened? What would I need to do, or how would I operate?
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do. So for example, we have the Ecobank mobile app. This Ecobank mobile app is the same across all of our markets. So today, I'm Ghanaian. I sit here, I have a CD account. So I have my mobile app that points to my CD account. Within that mobile app, whichever account I have anywhere, I used to work in Togo, so I have an account in Togo. I am in Kenya, I have an account in Kenya. So depending on what I want to do, for example, my kids want to buy yogurt from Togo. I just go onto the mobile app, debit my account, credit. But at the end of the day, the back end of that solution has the regulation to make sure that I don't transact above the regulatory limit. Okay. So back to your question, if you want to utilize your Naira account whilst you are here in Kenya, you don't need to open a
new account or don't need to come and open a new account
because
Kenya.
The mobile app allows you to transact from that account. But then if you want to transact in Kenya shillings,
I have to open
you would open a Kenya shilling account. But that account gets linked to your mobile app.
Right.
So that it's like your wallet. Wherever you go, whichever account you want to access, whether you are in the UK, you are in Ireland, you are in China, so far as you have data, that account is accessible to you. And then you can transact seamlessly across. If you didn't have, one of the beauties we have is what we call a token. So, for example, if my driver is stuck, somewhere a driver is stuck somewhere in Sierra Leone, that person does not have an account with Ecobank, but is in urgent need of money. I issue a token from my mobile app, send that token via SMS to that person. Look for your nearest Ecobank ATM, go in without a debit card, using just that token, I'm able to access money in the currency of the country where I'm drawing from. So that our presence means a lot for financial inclusion across Africa. And whether you have an account with Ecobank or you don't have an account with Ecobank, so far as you have somebody that is plugged into the Ecobank network, you have access. You have access. For example, we have a product that we call the cross-border rapid transfer. So today, if I am a distributor, I manufacture edible oils in Kenya, and I have distributors who are in Rwanda and in Tanzania, wherever they are, and they want to transfer money to me because from products they have bought. So far as they're within that Ecobank network and they have Ecobank accounts, they can transfer money to me instantaneously without going through SWIFT because we have built that platform. So really, that's the power in what we are able to do across Africa because of this platform that we have built. Over 40 years.
So all of this points to a better way, better Africa. So what is this campaign about, and why?
So we've said that as Ecobank, our raison d'etre, why we are who we are, is basically to bring about financial integration, economic development across Africa. And we've been known everywhere as the Pan-African Bank. As we enter into 2024 and as we work together with our new group chief executive officer, everybody knows Jeremy Awori, we are refreshing our brand and refreshing what we are bringing to the market. And we think that as we do this, we need to look at a better way to connect to our customers, a better way to serve our customers, and through that, a better way to ensure we have a better Africa. So this campaign is really emphasizing who we are and what we bring to the table, but make us conscious of the fact that the customer is at the center of everything that we do, and we need to continuously innovate, continuously rethink of how we deliver better to these valuable customers across our network that we deal with. So really, that's why we've launched this campaign.
It's like you said, it's both futuristic, both eye-opening, and a big challenge as well. You are basically taking on a huge challenge to say we want to increase connectivity, we want to increase seamless business transactions, seamless transfer of money within Africa, seamless life within Africa. At what cost? Are you prepared? What are the risks? Because I'm sure you've looked at the risks. What are those risks? Is it economic risk? Is it political risk? What are those risks?
I would flip it the other way and say, what are the opportunities?
Of course you were going to do that. Well trained.
What are the opportunities? And how effective is this? And how relevant and impactful will this be? If as an African organization run by African for Africa, we are able to work with partners like us to think through how we serve our customers better, how we connect with them better, connect to them better, how we solve for Africa's future better, then I think that would have been meaningful we would have said, yes, what does success look like? It looks like Africa solving Africa's problem together with partners that think and look, that think and feel and identify with who and what we are. So we believe that it's time. Yes, we believe we've already laid the foundation in terms of making the investments in our presence, in our technology platform, in our people, in products that we have rolled out, but it's always the thing of you ossify and become irrelevant when you think you've done it all, So refresh, rethink, and then go back to the market to see how you can do it better. So yes, a better way, a better Africa to connect to and to serve our customers.
Right. There's connectivity across the continent, and then there's how to access, like you said. As an individual consumer, and I want to just access and I have an account with Ecobank, I can either, go onto my mobile platform, I can use the internet banking, I can walk into a branch, I can use the ATM cards, or I can go into an agent. Tell us about agency banking, your network, and why and how it works.
As I've said, as Ecobank, we believe in partnership, and we believe that the quickest route to market is through that, so you can achieve scale quickly. So we partner with agencies across our markets to offer banking services. And what we do is to contract them to sell our products. And it could be to deposit money, to cash money, to pay a bill, to pay school fees. And in some of our markets, you can open accounts through that. We have over 110,000 agents and counting across. And here in Kenya, we have close to 200. And we're looking to bring this to 1,000 by the end of this year. What agency banking does is to offer convenience. And it's key to our focus on financial inclusion. Because for financial inclusion to work, the financial service has to be available. It has to be at a price point that a customer can afford, and then it has to be accessible. And so by partnering we have 16 branches here in Kenya. If we want to get 1 million customers, we can't have all of them coming to our branch. So then we partner with, whether it's a pharmacy, whether it's a supermarket, whether it's an agency that has outlets where we are not, then that gives that connection between us and our customers. So yes, that person is fronting for Ecobank, but is more in touch, more closer to the ground where our customers are. And then that provides that access and that convenience to our customers and gives them the ability to touch, to access our banking products. Exactly.
How different is the cost of accessing that service from when I use a mobile app, when I use the internet banking, when I come to the branch, when I go to the agent?
There's no cost to you as a customer. The Ecobank bears the costs, the agency cost. So it's the same as you've walked into an Ecobank branch or you've transacted on our platform. And there is no additional cost. What the benefit it gives to you is the convenience. The convenience and the speed with which you can access those services. So yes, we are big on partnerships, and agency banking is one of the key drivers of scale and access in the markets where we operate, and here in Kenya as well.
As I hear you say the things you do from the beginning of this conversation in terms of being present in these different markets, and then being available to customers at an individual level, at a corporate level, one of the questions that comes to mind then is sustainability of the things that you started to do as a bank across the continent. What's the guarantee that in 50 years to come, this will still be here even better than it is today? Sustainability is an issue for us sometimes, is it not? So what's that guarantee of sustainability?
I think it then speaks to what we are doing today, which is sitting back and saying, for 40 years we've done this, and it has given us results. It has made us top 3 in 15 of the 33 markets that we have banking licenses, and the other 2 where we have representative offices. So over 40 years, we've done it. We've had a lot of ups, a few downs here and there. So this is an opportunity for us to sit down and think again, to say, the next 40 and the next 40 and the next 40 till Jesus comes, will Ecobank still be here? And And we believe the answer is yes. Because we always consider what is the quickest route to market, and what is the most efficient way to do this for the customer and in terms of cost for us. So we've invested a lot in technology. When we started off this journey of rethinking and reimagining the way we work around 2015, we said at the point we had over 1,000 branches. And we said for us to achieve speed, to achieve scale, we can't continue growing because we are 33 million customers today across. Here in Kenya, we are close to about 500,000 customers. We want to be at 1 million customers by the end of the year. Across the group, we want to move from 33 million to 100 million. So if we do the ratio customer per branch, we may have to maybe put up 1 million other customer branches. And that is not cost efficient because it costs money to put up that brick and mortar. So then we say, how do we deliver the same service in a seamless way, in a way that is accessible to the customer at the best cost? And that is why then we began investing in these technology platforms and entering into partnerships to help us to scale. So if you ask me whether Ecobank will be sustainable in the next 40, in the next 40, in the next 40, my answer to you is a strong yes. Because we're always rethinking and reimagining how we meet the need of the customer in a way that is efficient, riding on the back of technology instead of, old-fashioned brick and mortar. Yes, brick and mortar will be there, but you need to rethink, reinvent all the time to become relevant.
How do you know what a customer needs? I think a lot of times there's the assumption that an institution that deals with the financials is aware of what the customer needs. And maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah.
So how have you gotten to know? Because you talked about several things. So I need to pay the bills. I need to pay school fees. I need to get certain things done. And I need to be able to do that whilst I'm doing other things.
Exactly.
Isn't it? So how do you get to know that these are the things that are needed, and then you now provide those solutions where somebody is at their point?
The beginning of our manufacturing process starts with the customer. And I must say that we didn't get it right from the beginning, where we would sit as a bank and we determine that I think the customer needs to pay money, and for the customer to pay money, they must come to my branch. And I open from 8 to 4, in some markets from 8 to 5. And so if I'm a nursing mother and I have to pick up my child from school at 6 and I need money, then tough. Come to Ecobank the next day. Now that doesn't work. So how we manufacture our product is talk to the customer. What do I want to do, and how do I want to do it? And what tools do I have as a customer? Because, for example, if I offer you a mobile app with a solution that can only work on a smartphone and cannot work on a feature phone, I have solved the problem maybe for a third, a fourth of my customer base. What happens to the rest? So we also look at what does the customer have. If I'm talking about access, and I'm saying you can reach Ecobank everywhere, a better way to connect, but then you have to drive through the traffic. I hear you talk about traffic for an hour to get to Ecobank. Have I solved your problem? No. So then I ask myself, who else is there? If I am not there, who else is there? Am I providing you with an ATM? Is it through an internet banking platform? Is it through an agency point that I'm partnering with? So we solve for the customer's problem by talking to the customer, finding out what the customer wants. For example, if an SME wants to borrow from me, and I ask the SME to come in and say, give me 3 years financial statements. This SME does not have accounts. He doesn't have an auditor. They just started. So what do I do as Ecobank? I look at who is this SME providing a service for, and how is that anchor client, like I'll call it, paying the SME, and how do I ensure that I have a way of making sure that money is routed through me, so that on the back of that contract, whose receivables I'm sure of, I can lend to that SME without going through the traditional way of financial analysis, spreads, bring me this, bring me that. So look at who your customer is, what they have, and then solve for that problem from their point of view and not from your point of view. I think that as we get to do that better, then a better way to connect, a better way to serve, a better future for Africa then becomes even more impactful and even more meaningful.
Josephine, you said we talk to our customer, we listen to our customer. How exactly do you do that? Is it, for example, with the example that you've just given, a customer comes in with a need, and then you immediately think on your feet and provide a solution, and then you make that solution a common solution? Do you conduct surveys? Do you hold public barazas? Do you conduct polls, focus groups? How do you listen to the customer, and how regularly do you do this?
Yeah, we do that through all the channels you're talking about. You know, it can be getting to a room with university students at the University of Nairobi and say, what are your challenges? You know, what do you want to do? How do you want to be able to assess maybe the government scholarship? You know, what makes sense for you? Do you want to spend your time in a queue at a banking hall? And that is how our relationship with Fingo started. Fingo really is focused on finance on the go for the youth. They didn't want to go into a banking hall 8-10 hours, you know, waiting to sign with paper. No. So Fingo came up with a concept of 4 minutes, just my phone and then a verified national ID. I open a bank account wherever I am. And immediately I'm able to start transacting, riding on the that's why it's Fingo powered by Ecobank, riding on the rails. So this is a youth, a young person who has experienced how difficult it is to access banking services, comes to us, speaks to us and says, I have this idea. I want to do this, but I don't have the technology platform to get this done. And I don't have the ability to scale across 33 markets after it has worked in Kenya. Can you help me do this? So we are in partnership with Fingo. And over a period of, let's say, we launched this in March this year. We have over 110,000 customers on the platform today and counting. So it's identifying the need, speaking to somebody who thinks like you, and then developing and solving for. So whether it's a survey, it's direct contact, it's a poll, it's the customer at the center first, and then you work backwards from there.
Do you innovate products that are ahead of regulation?
Yes and no. Because at the end of the day, your product has to fit within the regulation. So yes, you may have something that is ahead of where the regulation is. What then we do is to sit with the regulator and bridge the gap, so that by the time we launch, there's regulation to back it, because you operate within a context, and you cannot be ahead of that regulation. You have to be within the context of that regulation. So it is that talking to, that engagement prior to speaking to prior to launching. And then, having that alignment with that regulator and therefore going ahead to launch. So yes, sometimes we think ahead, but we ensure that we carry our regulators along so that we have the right approvals before we go to market.
You're dealing with 39 regulators, 35 in Africa.
Yes, 35.
So sometimes you may come up with a product that you actually harmonize very well with one regulator, but then the other regulator is a bit too slow, if you know what I mean. So that then means that you cannot roll out that product in that particular market. How do you navigate through those? So
you start with where you can, and you continue the engagement. And what you do is to show them the proof of concept, because at the end of the day, in Africa, we are solving for almost the same thing. So if I can make a payment seamless in Sierra Leone, and I can tell the government in Sao Tome that this works, and these are the benefits, and this is how it helps financial integration and economic development and financial inclusion in your country. I have a case, I have a proof of concept. I've done it, dusted, got a T-shirt, and I can bring it to you. So yes, there are times when we can scale across all of the 33 markets. For example, when I was, before this role, I was a group executive for commercial banking, and we launched Elevate by Ecobank, our gender financing program. Women have needs across Africa. We were able to scale that simultaneously one day across all of our 33 markets. It's different with other products, where some regulators allow, some do not. But at Ecobank, compliance is first. compliance is first before you come to the next line. And so we never go ahead of the regulator. We carry them along until we are both aligned, and then we go to market.
Does the market you go to as an individual consumer of the product, differ in terms of experience? If I'm in Freetown and then I'm somewhere else tomorrow, will my experience be different because I'm in a different country?
No, the experience should not, and largely it's not different because we operate. That's why I say we are a banking group and we are not a group of banks. So we have a set of policies that guide us. So, for example, we have one dress code. Anywhere you go across Ecobank, you would see us dressed this way. It's either black, it's navy blue, it's coffee brown. Those dark colors with with pales in between. Men, women, so you have that. If it's an HR policy, it's a one. It's the way our credit process, it's one. Our compliance framework, it's one. So we have one. We are one bank. Our technology platform, it's one.
Yes.
So the experience will not be different. Your mobile app, whether you download it in Sao Tome or you download it in South Sudan or in Accra or in Nigeria, it's the same in terms of its functionality. It may have different billers. For example, you may have the Electricity Corporation of Ghana on My Ghana app, but then you will have its counterpart in Sao Tome. So the services are the same, the face of it are the same, the products and it's been localized, but the experience you will get will be the same. How our banking halls are set up, the way we serve our customers, our ATMs, the card that you would use. We have one bank that, kind of gives you an Ecobank feel everywhere you go with a few tweaks here and there, Yeah.
Banking is different because of sometimes, when you think about religion, culture, and others. For example, Islamic banking. Now, you operate in some countries which are predominantly Muslim. So do you have those products that are tailored to that market because of religious considerations?
Yes.
For example, you're in the UAE, and then others where you don't.
Yes, we do.
How
do. So in some of our markets, I know, for example, in Chad, I think, for example, in Mali, in countries where they are predominantly Muslim, we do offer Islamic banking services, and it's something that we're looking to do as well here in Kenya to cater for the myriad of customers that we cater to. So in some of our markets, we do have Islamic banking services that cater to the needs of that customer segments. Yes.
You said you want to ask yourself, in 40 years, will Ecobank be here? And you said an absolute yes.
Yes.
I can also tell you, in 40 years from what we've seen, read, and the projections are, in 40 years, Africa will be the place. The largest population will be in Africa. The youngest population will be in Africa. The highest number of consumers will be in Africa. The greatest amount of trade will be in Africa. So as a bank that's already looking at that, then you're already ahead and preparing for that 40-year eventuality. The challenge, as is being discussed now, is on the currencies and the transfer of currencies. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area is looking at, okay, so let's make one trading block, that's Africa. But there's still the issue of moving cedi to naira to shilling. Must it first of all become cedi to dollar to naira, cedi to dollar to shilling? How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, at least in some, it's been solved in some of the regional blocks. In UEMOA, French-speaking West Africa, there's one currency. Within the CEMAC zone, there is one currency. And we've seen the benefits that brings to bear. And the ideal of having a single currency, like the euro, that then really ensures that we are really connected and can have really what we call borderless banking. It's where we are working towards as Africa. What we are doing as Ecobank to facilitate this is to provide that platform on which this will run. So today, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, Ecobank is plugged into that. And we are bringing the technology that currently allows us today. It's not an experiment. It works. For me to move Kenya shilling to Ghana cedi to naira to CFA, to ZAF. It exists today. You can download the Ecobank app and do that transaction today. So we have that technology, and we're bringing that to bear to help to drive, this ideal of creating that single market where we as Africans trade amongst ourselves in a seamless and in a borderless way, and we are part of that discussion. We are front and center of that discussion, and we are waiting, for that to happen. But whilst we wait for it to be perfected, today,
you're already offering
that trade is that is possible.
So you're playing a role as market leader, as thought leader. Are you also playing a role in leading future policy and how maybe financial transactions should look like in the future, talking to governments and playing the advocacy role?
Yes, we do.
How?
Yes, we do. And it's one of the roles that we play as a regional executive. I do that. As Group Chief Executive, Jeremy Arori does that. I can give an example, for example, of what we did during COVID from Lome, working together with the African Union, where we said, yes, it's a difficult time. SME businesses are struggling. How can we help during this period? So we launched, working together with AU NEPAD, Alder NEPAD, a training platform, working together with some consultants to offer virtual training, a virtual SME academy, which we rolled across 8 markets simultaneously and trained over 4,000 SMEs during an 8-week period. So this is us talking to a powerful, force in Africa, the AU, and saying, how do we solve for a problem that is common across our markets? And it could be talking about regulation. It could be talking about financial inclusion. It could be talking about women and how we empower them more. Today, we are working together with, we signed an MOU with the Africa Development Bank under their AFAWA initiative on how we can better serve and better bank women. So wherever, because we have this widest footprint and are in touch of with, let's say, about 2/3 of governments in where we operate, that talk, that engagement is constantly happening. And we bring in learnings from other markets into others to help to enrich the conversation and to ensure that we do have indeed a better Africa.
What's to be said to an individual today who's thinking, all right, so what do I do? Looking into the future where it's possible that my banking needs will take me across the continent, or rather, career needs will take me across the continent, and then I need banking needs to suit that. What would be the thing that you would say today to bring them onto this side?
I would say Ecobank is open for business and we are your best partner. So whether you are a young Kenyan looking to do business in Kenya but across Africa, you can download the Fingo app. Within 4 minutes, you open an account. You begin transacting here in Africa and you are plugged into 33 markets. If you are an SME and you are exporting goods from Kenya into Uganda and you're looking for a way to pay, Ecobank is there for you. We have what we call our Rapid Collect product that enables you to pay the person you are selling to pay into your account at Ecobank in whichever country you are in. So if I'm in Uganda and my supplier is in Kenya, I can pay into my Kenya supplier's account from Uganda without carrying cash across. If I'm a local corporate and I'm exporting and doing business across multiple countries in Africa, I say Ecobank is your partner because of this network, we allow instantaneous payments in African currencies across any of the markets in these 33 countries that you may be operating in. If you are a bank in Kenya and you are looking to do business in Sierra Leone, in Cameroon, in Ivory Coast, in Senegal, and you don't have a presence there, you don't have to build a branch there. Come to Ecobank. We are in those markets. So we're able to issue the bid bond, the performance guarantee, whatever your client needs, you can work through us. If you are a government and you're looking to solve, we have solved problems for a lot of governments and worked with them, to provide solutions. Ecobank is ready for business. And we say, come in, open an account with us, and be ready to transact. And we're happy to have you. If you're a woman-owned business, Elevate for Ecobank is ready for you. If you're an SME, we have bespoke SME products that speak to your need. So whoever you are, if you're an expatriate sitting here and finding out how am I able to seamlessly transfer money in any of the 33 markets, you don't have to bother. Open an account with Ecobank, you download your mobile app or get onto any of our internet banking platforms, and seamlessly from Kenya, you are able to take care of your family and your business outside of Kenya in any of these markets. So Ecobank is ready for business, and we are happy to have you.
Well said. Josephine Anan Ankomah is the Regional Executive Lead for Central, East and Southern Africa, and also the MD, Ecobank Kenya. She's been our guest this Valentine's Day morning. Keep it here for more conversations.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.